today. Last night at about 10 p.m., one of our officers, just on routine patrol, was directed to a woman who was in distress, and ultimately determined that she had an infant in her possession who was unresponsive, and took immediate actions to save that baby's life. There's also a potential for an ongoing criminal investigation, and there are some details that we're not going to be able to get into now, but know that our Special Victims Investigation Division, Child Protective Services, and the State's Attorney's Office are coordinating and communicating about the circumstances of this case to see where it may or may not go. But what I really want you to hear is Officer Dave Reed's, R-E-E-D, Officer Dave Reed's account of how he came upon the situation and what he did. Dave?
Thank you, Captain. Like the captain said last night around 10 o'clock at night, myself and members of the Police Community Action Team were patrolling the area of White Oak Shopping Center and New Hampshire Avenue and Lockwood Drive when I went to stop at beside the Sears to conduct traffic enforcement of the stop sign right there. It's a very bad area. People don't stop, a lot of foot traffic. And as soon as I stopped, a citizen approached my vehicle and alerted me that a lady was crying off in the distance, hysterically crying. And so I thanked him and I drove around my vehicle and approached the lady who was sitting in the passenger seat. She was hysterically crying, very distraught. Introduced myself, asked her if she was okay, if she needed any help, asked if she needed any fire rescue, was she having a medical emergency. She was not giving me any responses at all. She was hunched over, and as she saw me talking to her, she kind of bladed her body for my vision. At that point, I put my hand on her shoulder, trying to comfort her, let her know I was there to help her. Asked her to kind of sit back and talk to me, and at that point, I saw a small infant's baby kind of fall backwards. At that time, my attention diverted towards the baby. I asked her if the baby was having a medical emergency or something I could do for her. Again, she was not answering me. She was crying so hard, I thought she was starting to hyperventilate. At that point, fearing for the child's safety, knowing something had to be done, immediately I asked grabbed the child from her. As soon as I had the child in my arms, the child was wrapped up in a very thick fleece blanket. The baby's head kind of rolled back, eyes kind of rolled back in the baby's head. At that point, going through the first aid that our excellent academy staff teaches us every year through in-service, immediate first aid. I did a sternum rub on the chest, a couple of quick compressions, struck the back of the baby between the shoulder blades, and at that time the baby took a very deep breath, began to cry. Obviously I called out fire and rescue for an immediate response for a pediatric problem. Fire and rescue was there within seconds. I mean, they did a fantastic job. The woman was still very hysterical, so just created distance and let fire and rescue take over. This may or may not be stemming from a domestic violence, like the captain said. It's an ongoing investigation, so we don't get too much into it. But long and short of it is, it is imperative that we work with the community. It's just, there's no way we can do our job. We can't be everywhere at once. We can't have all the knowledge of what's going on. The only thing we can do is we can be out in the community. So if it wasn't for a African-American male coming up to a white officer saying there was an African-American female with an African-American baby having a problem, then things could have been very bad, and this could have been a whole total different press conference. So I'm very thankful for the citizen that came forward, who saw something, said something, and there was a life saved last night. So I'm very grateful to be at the right place at the right time. But I did absolutely nothing more than any police officer that would have done on this department. I just happened to be there, and with the training, excellent training that we get on a daily basis, was able to perform to help a baby start breathing. So that's basically all I did last night.
Stay right there.
I tried to run, but he won't let me.
What was wrong with the baby?
The baby was unconscious. It appeared to me that the baby was not breathing, and so kind of the head rolled back. I have 2 small children, so I know a baby's actions and how when you pick them up, even if they're sleeping, they're going to have some kind of movement. The baby had no movement at all when I picked the child up in my arms. So a quick assessment, and then I did not have to do mouth to mouth. It's just I think everything happened so fast. It simply was the right place at the right time, and with a couple of quick compressions and a strike on the back, it just was able enough to shock her into starting breathing.
Were there any physical markings, cuts or bruises on the baby?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. But the baby was